Hey guys, good morning. Stu Hill here from CHEM.digital. This occurred to me the other day. A client of ours was connecting a domain name to a new website that we just built for him. And when we went into his GoDaddy account, we noticed thousands of domain names related to all sorts of different communities and areas and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, wow, there's literally like 1,000 domain names in there. I'm like, okay, multiply by 10. That's 10 grand a year that you're spending on all of these domain names. Is it worth it? You're not using them. Would you put them to use? What would you do with that? And then this reminded me very much of an article or some comments that John Mueller made. John Mueller, if you don't know, is like the king of Google search. He works for Google. He gives advice on Google search. Google don't tell you what it takes in order to rank in search. Like Google ranks your websites the way they want to rank them, but search engine optimization is obviously the process of kind of manufacturing or reverse engineering how Google works, and getting a website to rank where it should. So you have to kind of work with Google within their parameters in order to make a website rank. Now, this gets us onto the topic of keyword-rich domain names for real estate. So this one client is by no means the only client. Over the years, we've had tons and tons and tons of these domain names everywhere. People used to go back and buy them, condos for sale in so and so, Cadavadera homes for neighborhood, different golf courses, neighborhoods, communities, right? And I think there's some merit to buying up those domain names because, hey, it's better you own them than your competitors own them, right? However, if you think about building a real estate business based on those domain names, there's a few things that don't work for you. These days, because the actual domain name of a website, and an example I use with clients often is, look, if you think of, if you do a search for, laptops for sale, you're going to see HP, Dell, etc. In the search results. HP, Dell, no mention of PCs or laptops in the domain name itself, right? It doesn't matter. CHEM.digital, no mention of real estate marketing in the domain name itself, but we still rank for every key phrase that we want to. And the videos even help that. So when it comes to keyword-rich real estate domain names, you should really avoid stuffing, because these keyword-heavy domains where you've got too much of a match in there. Number one, it reduces your business to that neighborhood. It's number two, it's not as memorable. People are more likely to remember a brand than they are the exact combination of Cadavadera homes and condos for sale.com, and Google can perceive Google can perceive the domain names to be spammy. So it goes along with keyword stuffing a document, right, or a web page or a blog, right? Do not you want it to read naturally. Google's not stupid. It reads the same way humans do. So and they analyze page experience. And how does that information flow for a user, and how's the information validated for a user? So all of these things kind of add to it making things spammy. Furthermore, when you've got those domain names, and the domain name itself is packed with all sorts of keywords for particular neighborhoods and stuff like that, then the website is constantly going to compete with others using similar keywords, and you're not necessarily, and you become a kind of unbranded entity, more of a resource site then you do a brand yourself, which goes away from the kind of customer loyalty and why the reasons why customers are buying into you as a real estate agent or brokerage, as opposed to them looking for just homes for sale in a particular community. So thinking about thinking about the philosophy of the purchase, the brand, and then expanding the kind of long-term goals, and then also just balancing that out against the fact that you don't need all of those keywords. But I would certainly say that it doesn't hurt to have them. I'd be strategic around the ones that you do have. Maybe try and sell some of them off. If you own a bunch of them now, it might be worth selling a bunch of them off that's pretty low value to you, but you bought them for $10, you might be able to sell them for $100 or a couple of $100. That might be a worthwhile purchase for somebody. If you do want to sell one, we have a database of about 2 million real estate agents nationwide. We wouldn't be opposed to perhaps shooting out a message for you to the local market, for perhaps a small commission. Go on our website, CHEM.digital. Just submit a contact form to us, and if you have domain names that you want to sell, we can try and place those for you. But hopefully that gives you an answer on that. Any client now says, shall I buy neighborhood specific domain names? No. Pick something that's related to your business. We can optimize around that, as opposed to the neighborhood. Doesn't hurt to point a few inwards towards your website, maybe on specific pieces of marketing, or if you created like a forum or something like that goes to a particular page on the website, then certainly that doesn't hurt for marketing purposes, but certainly for real estate SEO, it's not necessarily. If you found this video useful, please click the like button. If you want more tips and tricks related to real estate marketing, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to our blog updates. We have 110,000 real estate professionals, just over, I think now, that subscribe to our blog for notifications of all the interesting things that I write and talk about on a weekly basis. Anyway, once again, I'm Stu Hill from CHEM.digital. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.